Unless and until you are a coach expert, so your resume will have all those mistakes which a current newly recently new graduate makes, or if you have a very good experience over a decade. But in this video we are going to cover about around 15 to 20 common mistake which every professional, every new graduate, or even maybe a expert can make. So let's just get started, and what you have to do is you have to watch the video till end if you want to make correct all those your mistakes to be correct, and you want to just land your dream job. So let's just begin with the video, and you have to stay till end, correct? And you also know that what you have to do, you have to hit the subscribe button and have to press the bell icon so that never miss the upcoming videos. So let's just begin with the video and just move forward for the first point. To begin with, so first of all, you have to stop including all those irrelevant experience in your resume. By this I mean that you have to just include only those work experiences which are particular and which fits for that specific job position. Let's say for example you are applying for a role of accountant, so you have to just include all those skill sets, and which is like most convincing to the recruiter or the HR, that the skill set you have are most valuable to the organization and you are just the like fit for that particular position. So you have to include, like, you have photoshop skills, so you have adopt that, I don't know what it is. So you don't have to include all those skills, like these are not good for the accountant position, but you have to include is that you know balance sheet, you know how to prepare that, you know QuickBooks, you know bookkeeping. So these are the skills which are important for the accountant. And what is the pro tip over here? So if you are a recently graduate or you are a school pass out, so if you have any volunteer experience or if you don't have any kind of experience, so you can just list over all the skill sets. You can just prepare yourself by observing all those job description, as I mentioned in this video also, but you can just figure out what skill set you need. So you can just start putting all the skill set in your resume, and you can just try to starting with any kind of internship or something, so that you can gain that valuable Canadian or maybe Indian or wherever you are in the part of the world, so you can just try to get that experience. So next point is not backing up your claims with data. What I mean by this is, okay, just listen to two statements which I'm going to say right now. Increased sales versus increased sales by 20% in 2019. So which is more convincing, the first one or the second one? Absolutely the second one, because it specify three things which I recommend you to specify in your resume. So you have to tell the time frame, which means how much time did you took to achieve that result or achieve that target. Secondly, how did you achieve that? And third, what did you achieve that? Like, you increased the sale, correct, by like, or maybe in 219, or maybe in 6 months. So that's the time frame. And how? You can say by reducing the inventory cost, or maybe by like managing the inventory or something like that. So you have to specify the time, the how, and what you did to do that. Moving towards the next point, including fluff skills. What I mean by this is that you have to stop including those skills which are commonly used by any other person. Let's say for example, it's great critical thinking, I'm organized, I'm a team player, team spirit, blah blah blah. So these are the skills which you put on your resume, and just to impress the recruiter. But what's the issue over here? The issue is that the recruiter is seeing those skill set in every maybe 1,000, or maybe I would say infinite of the resumes, and he's no more interested to see those skills. Now what you have to do, and what I recommend you, is what the recruiter is looking for is those hard skill sets, maybe with experience or maybe without experience, which stands you out among all those 100 200 applications. So you have to focus on the skill set which are more practical for that the position you are applying for. That makes sense, right? So go for it and search for the skill set which is mostly needed. So next point is including the obvious skill set. I know somewhere you are just focusing on the crackers now. So I'm in Brampton right now, and this always, in this season of wedding season or the Diwali season, it always happen. So just ignoring the sound behind me, let's focusing on the including the obvious skills. So it's 2022, and it's much pretty implied that all of you just start putting Microsoft Excel, blah 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 skills in your resume. But that is just what I would like to say, is that you are just filling or just wasting this space, and by that I mean you can just use that space to create more value from your resume. And what skill set I would suggest as per your field is to include such skill. Let's say for example, if you are a supply chain, because I'm a supply chain student and I have only those things in my mind, so I would suggest you, so you can just try to include let's say accounting skills, bookkeeping skills, QuickBooks skills, or maybe Excel is important because in this field Excel is much required, and SQL skills, SAP. There are many skill set which are required, and the practical experience in this is also required. So this is the obvious skill set which you should use in your resume if you are a new type of a person. So you can just use skill like the Microsoft skill, Word, ABC. So that is more appropriate as per your experience, but I would suggest to swap or like to shift from those skill set to such skill sets. So next point is using responsibilities instead of achievements. And from this point I would just say, like, try to use your achievements in your resume, because that attracts what the recruiter is looking for. Let's say for example you said charge with like a sale or something like that, and instead of you mention that increase these sales by 50% in 2022. Now the second one, like the first one is the your responsibility, that you had a responsible on your small shoulders, that you have to complete the sales of let's say 2000 or reaching 2000 people. So yeah, that's a responsibility which maybe other sales guy would have, but the difference you would have made over here is by having a sale, or maybe by increasing the sale by 50% in so and so time period. And if you have achieved that thing, and if you have mentioned that thing in your resume, it would like have attracted the your recruiter's attentions, and there are more likely chances that you would have landed into that dream job. So there's a pro tip over here. So let's say if you have served as a server in your any past of the years, so you can't just start mentioning, okay, I served 500 tables and provided the customer likely experience. So that's not the achievement, and you have to be like such a person that if if your job is something of not of the same thing, like if it's not a result oriented where you can't achieve any result, so you don't have to just make any sentence and just put over it like to state that okay, I have achieved something. No, so you have to very particular about that thing. So you have to try to provide result oriented thing when the job has such circumstances only. Let's move to the next point. Next point, and the most important point, is not tailoring your resume. And this point has been covered in the last videos too. You can just go and watch these videos. So by this point, I mean that you have to alter, customize, or you maybe tailor your resume every time you are just sending or sending the your resume to the different job application. So what every person do is they create a very standardized or generic resume, and they try to send that specific resume where maybe he is having experience, let's say in the restaurant field, and he's applying for a supply chain logistic coordinator or maybe supply chain analyst. So there is no link between the restaurant field and supply chain, so there is no chance a single percent also that you will get the job over there. So what you have to do is you have to try to alter your resume, or maybe a good pro tip I would like to share it is that you can just try to create 4 to 5 versions or variations of your resume, so that you can specify, okay, if I'm applying for so and so job position, let's say for example you're applying for a sales team lead, so you can just create a resume specific to the sales team lead, and you can just state all the skill set, all the experiences you have in that field, and you can just directly pull that out from your folder or something, and you can just share that. And secondly, let's say you have created a maybe as a manager, sales manager, or maybe something like that. So you can have all those experiences, skill set in that resume, and whenever you are applying for the sales manager positions, you can just easily go and pull that out and just share that resume with that specific job position, and there the chances gets maybe highly, I would say, of getting the job in your favor. So let's go for the next point. Next point is sharing or maybe saving the resume in a wrong format. There are many like ways, or the ATS scanner asks us to share the resume maybe in the PDF or the document form, but sometimes if you save that in the PNG, JPEG form, so that's the not correct method, and that's not like acceptable by the ATS. So what you have to do is try to saving mostly in the PDF form, because there are very less chances that the next person can alter your resume, or like they can just alter the documents like the docs X as well. So try sharing your resume in the form which is asked by the job ad. If the job ad specifically asks to share your resume in the Word document form, so by that way you can just share what have been asked to. You can't go against that, because that will not be acceptable by the recruiter or the hiring agency. So you have to be very specific at that moment. So next point says that picking the wrong template. By here I mean that you have to try to pick the resume template which is more appealing, like by the way of visual appearance. It's mostly like easy to read, easy to edit, and it should have at least 2 columns, so that you can just try to pull more information, to put more information in it, and the size and the font size and the font is like easily readable. So try using and picking the templates which are like more convincing, and the information doesn't cause like it should be valuable, I would say. Now, including a photo. What you guys think of it? Should you include your photo? Or maybe you're like, oh, I had such a beautiful photo and I should just upload it. No, my dear, you don't have to upload any photo on your resume. If you see many examples of the different country, let's say USA, maybe Australia, maybe Canada, maybe UK or the Europe, there is no such, maybe yeah, in the Europe it's a trend, or I would say it's not mandatory, but people try to using their professional photos on their resume. But in other countries such as USA, UK, Canada, Australia, so there is no such a rule or maybe anything to have your photo on your resume, maybe just to avoid those racism, or maybe something like that. So it's not required, and it's not suggested to use your professional photographs on your resume. Try avoiding that, and try to enlarge the font size of your name so that it's easily readable and it's attractive too. Now, before just moving to the next point, I have a question. So how would you like to have your resume name as? Maybe resume pdf.com, resume version 10.com, etc. So what I'm trying to say is which is the next point only. So you have to try to have a very professional name for that file. By that I mean, so it should be something like that. Your first name, your last name, and then resume.pdf, because I'm suggesting you to save your file in the PDF format. And for example, my name is Masoom and my last name is Sandhu, so I would say my PDF I would save my PDF file as Masoom Sandhu resume.pdf. So whenever I'm saving or sharing that resume to any professionalism or maybe any professional person, so it's easy for them, it shows my professionalism towards my career. And secondly, it's easy for that specific person to pull out your file if he recognizes you by your first and last name. So it's easy for them to search for your name in that bundle of thousands of applications which have been submitted by the other professionals. Now let think about something, by which I mean, read this sentence on the screen which says, attention to detail on your resume, where you are trying to drag the attention of the recruiter to the details which you are going to mention in your resume, or maybe about your work experience or something like that. But does that sound good? Like, it seems like very down market, right? The down market word. So that is not kind of a bit accepted by the resume. That doesn't sound professionalism. So what you have to do is, you have to set ready your resume, and you should try to run it through Grammarly. If you have any spelling, any mistakes, if your resume is riddled with many of the grammatical errors, so there's chances that it will get correct by the Grammarly. Second, try to read it maybe many times slowly, or maybe loud, if that's good for you. So you'll be trying to figure out the errors, and maybe you can ask your friends and family members to read that for you, and just to check it out if it has any grammatical errors, because other person are easily आपको लगेगा कि it's very very perfect from your side, but it's not. So other people will be able to figure that out. So let's move to the next point. Next point says that not point out a career change. By that I mean that if you have a career change, like if you were an accountant and now you think of and gain some skill sets to be a graphic designer for say, so you have to try to include that in your resume. Otherwise, the recruiter will think that you're a job hopper, or maybe you're just trying to apply to different random job applications, and you will get rejected at the same moment. So to just avoid that thing, what you have to do is, you can just state something like that: experienced accountant and looking for a data entry job as a graphic designer. And downward to that, you can try to pull out some of the skill set which are required by the graphic designer. So you have those skill sets. Now you are preparing yourself to go for from this career change to this career change, and with some hard skills in your hand. Making your resume for about 2 to 3 pages, is that acceptable? No, guys, it's not. So next point says that you should never make your resume too long. Nobody is interested to listen to your life, or maybe your journey of your life, or that what all you have did in your life. It's just a concise summary what is most relevant to that job position you are applying to. So you have to try to stick yourself, your resume, to only and only one page, or you can just go till 2 page. Try to include everything in one page. I stated that you can just try to have 2 columns, 3 columns, 4 columns, maybe one column at the top stating your name, then just something on the left hand side stating your personal objective, professionalism, experience. Then you can start with some work experience. Try to put 4 to 5 work experience, 2 to 3, 1 2, how many you have. Then try to have educational background at the bottom of it. Try to have skill sets, or maybe skill sets could be the before your experience. So you can just try to arrange that sort of data. Maybe under on the left side, you have provided the professional summary. Under that, you can just try to maybe your language proficiency level, you can just try to indicate over that. So there's many ways, so you have to figure it out what works better for you. So let's move to the last point. So now the last point says that not including the much information which is required. So maybe, for example, let's say you are a recent school pass out or a recent graduate, but you didn't have much experience in your field yet. So what you can just try to do is, you can just try to pull out, or maybe just try to state some of the things which you have. By here I mean that maybe you have some extracurricular activities, maybe you worked on any projects, you have any certification, you have any online certifications, you have worked on a group project or something. So you can just try to fill that thing in your resume, because resume is not supposed to be 1 line 2 line thing. It should be at least 1 page. And if you have work experience, try to put and indicate your work experience at the topmost thing. For example, let's say you are a recent pass out, so what you can say is, okay, you were president and founder in your college or in your school time. You were that captain or something which we used to have in the school. So you can just try to say that. And what were your job responsibilities? So you can say that you worked blah blah blah. मैं तो कभी थी नहीं, so I don't know what were the responsibilities of the school as a captain of the school. So you can just try, or maybe the president. So you can just try to pull all those your responsibilities in your resume. And that's all for this video, the common mistakes which you have to avoid. Maybe this video seems to be helpful to you. I just try to include many points, like figuring out from my own personal experience, and I hope this video helped out you. If you have any queries, I always mention that you can just try to DM me, maybe by email, Insta, Snapchat, anything. I'm always there to help you guys, and you always know what I ask for, just to hit the subscribe button and just to grow this channel out. And this can be just done with your help. So see you guys in the next video. Till then, you have to take care of yourselves, your family, and have a great day.